Welcome, Rohan. Welcome to the 18th World Education Summit.
Thank you, Abhishek. Thank you for that warm welcome. It is the 18th year that you've been doing this.
So, actually, we have started in 2011 and it was inaugurated by Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. From there, we are initiating this World Education Summit in India, in the foreign also. We have done in the almost 9 countries in foreign. So, right now, due to this COVID situation, we are coming to the digital platform. So, I would like to introduce all my audience. We are here with Mr. Rohan Pasari, co-founder and the CEO of the Cialfo. And here, Rohan is going to give an exclusive session presentation on the Reimagine Your Enrollment game. So, Rohan, by not taking your time, I just hand over this session to you so that you can share your deliberations and the best practices that the Cialfo is doing right now in the higher education space. And any question from the audience side, we will directly take it live. So I request audience, if you have any question, please put it here. We will take it live from the Rohan. So Rohan, over to you.
Thank you, Abhishek. I'm just going to share my screen.
Please.
Let me know if you're able to see this properly.
Sure, Rohan.
So are you able to see my presentation now?
1 second. No, we are not able to see right now, Rohan. You select the presentation while sharing the screen. Select the presentation you want to share.
Yes. Is this visible now?
No, Rohan.
Okay.
Rohan, help me. Could you mail me that presentation right now?
Sure. Sorry.
I just texted you my email ID in the chat box.
Okay, great. Appreciate that.
1 second, so that we can. 1 second. So that I can learn on behalf of you.
Okay. So I'm just sharing a Google Doc link.
Sure.
You can just, open that up.
Meanwhile, you can share your screen from your end also. Go to share button.
Yeah, I have the share button. I'm clicking on share.
Then share screen. Yeah.
Yeah, but it doesn't seem to. Can you see it now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, great. Perfect.
So Rohan, can you make it full size? Yes, now it is full size.
Okay, awesome.
So Deepak, can you take us backstage? So after this. Okay, Rohan.
All right, awesome. Thank you, Abhishek. Welcome, everyone. So without much ado, we're going to start. How do you reimagine your enrollment game, and why are we even talking about it? So why are we talking about it, and why am I talking about this to you? So just to give you an idea, I'm a co-founder and CEO of Cialfo. We are an AI-driven software solution that connects the entire global higher ed ecosystem. So I grew up in India, and I faced a lot of challenges applying for colleges in India itself, as well as while I was looking at colleges abroad. And that seeped in me an idea that the college application process should not be this difficult. I had to apply to every college separately. Every application process was different. Every tests were different. And that's not how it should be. It should be a much simpler process. So we took on the challenge of solving that for the Indian community, for Indian students, as well as for the global community. So Cialfo started about 3.5 years back to solve this problem with a mission to make education accessible for 100 million students in India and globally. And Cialfo is a Latin contraction for Citius, Altius, Fortius, which in Latin means faster, higher, stronger. So we work with high schools on one side and enable students to manage the career and college application process. And on the other side, we work with universities like yourselves to help you with your enrollment, with your recruitment journey, connecting you to students and counselors across India as well as across the world as well. But we're not going to talk all about Cialfo. I just wanted to give you that background. We're going to talk about how can you, as university leaders, use get into the virtual recruitment game. What I think now people have realized that recruitment cannot happen the way it was happening for the last 2 decades or for the last century even. The pandemic has accelerated people's adoption of technology as well as the higher education institutions' adoption of technology. And how can you use technology to be able to improve your efficiency, to improve your outcomes on recruitment? That's what we're going to talk about, and then we'll spend a few minutes talking about how you could potentially use Cialfo for recruitment as well. So the way we see the landscape for higher ed institutions like yourself is that technology is getting adopted in 3 specific areas. First, in the recruitment area. Second, in the education delivery area, which is also popularly known as the OPM space, where how do you use technology to impart education, learning outcomes. And third is how do you promote student well-being and student success, which can happen through careers, mental well-being, and other ways. We, in this presentation today, are going to talk about recruitment and technology in recruitment. So last year, we started working with over 800 universities. In May, the first fair that we organized, we saw 245 universities participate in a virtual fair that allowed them to engage with students on our platform. These were universities, the top universities around the world, like Cornell, UPenn, NYU. In India, we had OP Jindal, Kriya, even Ashoka participating in these universities. And we had 55,000 students registering. This was the first of its kind virtual online university engagement. There was a lot of hoo-ha. There was a lot of excitement given that all of the travels had come to a screeching halt and people needed a virtual space to be able to continue that connection between students and universities. And we did a bunch of these virtual fairs, virtual college connections across 2020. But towards the second half of 2020, we started facing issues, which we then realized it was a global issue. Students were not only using Zoom for education, they were using Zoom for personal events. They were using Zoom literally for everything. I mean, I attended 3 Zoom weddings. I'd never imagined you could attend a wedding over Zoom. So people started facing this Zoom fatigue. Colleges were not getting the same amount of engagement that they started getting in the early days of 2020. So what colleges started to do with our help was understand what students need from this engagement online. Moving just that virtual fair experience online is not enough. Similarly to this event, the EL ETS event, just moving a physical fair online is not sufficient. You have to recreate the entire experience in the virtual space. So what do students need? What do counselors need? So we did surveys, which I'm going to show you in a bit, the results of that. How do you work with counselors in schools that do have counselors? Or how do you work with teachers to activate the interest of students? And then how do you have real-time engagement with students? When you go to a fair, when you go to a physical fair, that's the only time you can engage with the student. That's the only time you can communicate with the student. But in a virtual environment, that's not true. In a virtual environment, you can communicate and engage with the student all around the year. So how do you use technology to do that? So we enabled a system, and again, I'm just using Cialfo as an example. You should try to use systems that allows you to engage with students all down the year. These fairs, these virtual events, is not engagement is not just an event; it's a process. Now, even if you are looking to engage with certain peers in this event, the ELTS event, um, just this event will not be sufficient. You will hopefully meet new people. You will probably meet people that you already know through your previous connections, and then you'll need to continue engaging with those people. It's the same with students. Engagement is not an event; it is a process, and you need software solutions that enables you to maintain that engagement all down the year, or even as soon as grade 9. Um, so that you can start, even when the student starts thinking about colleges, or even before they start thinking about colleges, you need to start branding your university in their minds. So as we did some of these solutions towards the second half of 2020, we started seeing those results again. And even though we had an increase, but a slight dip in sort of the in the growth rate, it shot back up in towards the end of Q4. So we had about 400,000 students engaging with universities last year, in 4 lakh students engagement in universities last year. So what did we learn? These are some really interesting insights we got by surveying the students. And feel free to take screenshots of this survey and share it with your larger team. So one of the first questions we asked was, what type of online engagement are you interested in when you're talking to universities? When we spoke with universities, we realized that universities want to chat with the students one-to-one. They either want to chat or want to do a video call with students one-to-one. That is how universities think they get the most or best outcome. But when you talk to students, that's low in their interest, low in their agenda. They want a webinar with presentation and live Q&A. They want content-driven workshops with tips and insights on different aspects. They want case studies about how it is to apply to a university, how do students succeed in your universities. And they also want to see what other students, their peers, are asking in that session. So even though this may be your preferred method as a university, you have to understand your audience, the students, are looking for something else. And how can you enable that as part of your online recruitment activities, as part of your admissions team, your marketing team? How can you provide them content-driven insights to engage with them? Secondly, we asked them, what do you want out of the event? Okay, this is your mode of engagement. What do you want? What content do you want? They said exclusive information about the application process. We saw a lot of university reps were just giving the information that was already available on their website or brochure or whatever. That's not what a student wants to come in for. Today's Gen Z, they all have access to internet. At least if they're attending your online event, they have access to internet. So getting the same information that is already available on your website is not helpful, is not meaningful. So they want information that makes their attendance valuable. So what exclusive information can you give them about the application process? Specific questions. So always having time for specific questions to be answered is really important for them, almost as important as getting inclusive information. They want to see what others are asking, and they want to have a presentation which is fun. And then they also want to hear from the alumni of your universities. When you were traveling physically from city to city or state to state in the country or even abroad, it was very difficult to bring alumni with you. If you are in Mumbai, for example, and if you have alumni living in Mumbai, maybe you could have brought somebody along with you. But it's very difficult to do that at scale. But online, that is not difficult, right? I mean, you can have an alumni living in any part of the world, and you can get him or her to attend your sharing session. But we saw universities were not doing that. 1 out of every 100 universities brought in an alumni or even a current student to talk about their university experience. And so that is what we mean by you have to recreate and re-understand um, the virtual recruitment, the virtual recruitment space, and the limitations that you had in a physical environment, you no longer have in the virtual environment. Of course, there are some limitations in the virtual environment which were not present in the physical environment, but I find with the adoption of technology, um, the new people who are new to this virtual recruitment space are bogged down by the limitations of technology, but not utilizing the advantages that virtual recruitment brings. So my presentation really is about how can you open your mind in doing some of the things which you typically not be thinking of doing, which is really not that difficult. Bringing alumni, making sure that you are spending some time to have their questions answered. So if you have 60 minutes, 20 minutes to talk, you at least put in like 15 minutes or 10 minutes for them to ask questions. How much do you enjoy virtual events? We also wanted to ask, do they like it? Do they not like it? So only 4% said they are getting sick of them. So virtual recruitment is the future. That is how the future of recruitment is going to be. Of course, it needs to fit into their schedule. It may not be synchronous, which means they may not want to attend it when you are presenting, but they would want it to be recorded so that they can watch it later. And 1/3 of them said they like it a lot. So really, think beyond your virtual booth. It's not a replica of your in-person event. Your pre-event and post-event engagement are equally important, if not more important than the event itself. So we saw a lot of universities, at least last year, focused very heavily on that 30 minutes or 2 hours that were in the booth, but would not do anything pre or post-event, virtually, because that was their mindset. I would go to a physical event, physical conference. I would do as much as I can in that physical conference, and that's it. But that's not true for the virtual environment. And create original, exclusive, really value-driven content, and make sure that your attendees know. So that again goes back to the pre-event engagement, letting your attendees know that this is the solution. This is the content that you are going to be sharing on that day. And I also wrote an article on this. It's a 7-8 minute read. So encourage you to go in and see what solutions you can have for college recruiting. So think about your entire journey, right? So if you look at the entire journey of a student recruitment, it starts with awareness, then engaging those connections, engaging those students that are aware about your university, and then finally recruiting them. So what kind of solutions, what kind of ideas that you can work with to create that awareness in the first place? How do you engage with those students, and then how do you finally recruit? This is how you look at it. And these are some on the side, on the right, some of the things that we do on every step of the way to help you drive success through Cialfo for your recruitment solution. So we spoke about online university fairs, and that is what was majorly happening last year, but we also running data analytics. The connect function, which allows you to connect with students all around the year. How do you connect with students, again, all around the year, engage with them all around the year, engagement workshops, and then finally the enroll service. So again, I'm just using Cialfo as an example. Feel free to get in touch with our team. We have 2 members of our team throughout this conference until Saturday, Hiten and Anmol. But use this as an example. If Cialfo can help you, that's great. If you can do this yourself, that's great as well. But take this as an example of how you can, what you should be doing as part of your admissions and marketing team. So from the student point of view, virtual college fairs, student workshops, value-driven workshops. Again, a lot of online content of case studies, ambassadors, especially for universities that are new for in the minds of students, which are not your IITs or SRCC of India. How can you show student success online and constantly be talking about relevant case studies? How can you connect with students via a technology platform, not just at a one-time event, but all around the year? What data analytics can you utilize either within your team, within your CRM, or with a company like Cialfo that enables you to engage with the students in the right manner? Now, if you're a university, let's just take Kriya as an example for no other reason, but just top of my mind. Um, they're not going to get equal interest from every state or every city in the world. So which city, which state, or which kind of high schools do they get most amount of interest? Is it really important for them? And are you able to drive that insight within your team, within the system that you use, that allows you to focus in regions where you're already strong in, where already there is a brand awareness, and the way you'll talk to students in that state or city is going to be very different compared to states or cities or schools where I, as a Kriya Institute, Kriya University, do not have awareness. Um, so the kind of conversation you'll be having would be different. And then from counselors' perspective, in schools which have counselors or teachers or heads of schools and principals, how do you do virtual school visits? How do you, again, have a meaningful way to engage with counselors? Not just talking about, come and look at my university, but actually, giving them meaningful content, interview series, professional development with counselor teachers. And all of these things, you should be looking to do it yourself. Or again, Cialfo can help you with these things, and feel free to contact us. But really, the game changer, the way we look at it, is students applying to a university. We really see this as a game changer because there's a huge friction for students to actually even apply to any universities. Again, when I was applying to universities in India, 15 years back, I had to apply to every university separately. Some universities had, online forms, but most of them were physical forms. But even if physical forms went online, that's not enough for 2021. Students have a lot of friction if they have to go to your university website and then apply. So how can you be part of a common system that students are already using to reduce the friction for students to apply to your university? And that is, again, a platform like Cialfo does. We are already engaging with 2.5 lakh students on Cialfo, from the top schools in the country. They're already using Cialfo. They already have the transcripts, their reports, their academic profiles on Cialfo. They're already applying to a bunch of universities on Cialfo. So if you would be using Cialfo, students could apply to your university directly. That reduces the friction significantly. Now, if students don't have that in their school, or a way they would be going to external application websites, there may be a drop-off if they don't understand anything and don't have an easy way to contact the representatives. They may get biased influence or biased advice from agents that may or may not be representing different kinds of universities, and the documents may also be inaccurate if it's not coming directly from the high school. So this direct apply system really brings the entire application together, transparent. You have full control as a university because it's coming directly from the high school, and it's verifiable documents. So this is really the new world of applications, really going from the awareness engagement to actually the application point of view through technology, monitoring the students' engagement through the entire journey from grade 9 to grade 12. And yeah, and this is, and I've also sort of taken you through how so you can leverage Cialfo. Through that, we are not just a university platform; we are a high school platform that works with high school counselors. We work with 1,400 high schools around the world, and 4 different offices in New Delhi in India, and in 3 other countries in the world. In India, we work with over 200 high schools. These are just some of the names that we work with in Mumbai, Delhi, Bangalore, but we are present um, in over 25 states in India, and students across the country. And not only individual schools, but some of the best school groups also use Cialfo, so Pathways, JBC, and Indus, Shivnadar, Heritage Shriram, and some others as well. So again, um, how do you look at all-around presence and engagement across the country? Um, how do you engage students virtually, not just through an event, but through a process? um, how can you drive value-driven content to counselors, to students? How can you leverage your alumni base, your success stories, your academic professors to really inspire students to join your institution? And I'll leave you with this sort of quote uh, that students come join universities to really innovate, and universities really brand themselves as learning centers, as innovation centers. But if you look at just industry as a whole, and across industries, education, ironically, is also the industry that innovates the least often, the slowest. But we brand ourselves as innovation centers and learning centers. So it is time that we use a pandemic as a excuse to really digitalize each step of our process, starting from recruitment, online delivery, and student well-being, and help students be the change makers for the next generation. So thank you. This is a team. This is a global team. We have people all around the world, but you'll be working with Hiten and Anmol. This is Hiten's email right here, hiten.shah@cialfo. He's based in Mumbai, but of course available online to anyone. So join us in making the students' dream a reality. And happy to take any questions if we can, Abhishek.
Yes, 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 Rohan. So, Rohan, can you remove the sharing screen? Yes.
Sure.
Thanks, Rohan. Thanks for this wonderful presentation. I just went through all the slides, all the decks that you have been shared right now. So, actually, one question, Rohan, right now that you have just talked about the major about the students and the university admissions. So, what the major challenge that you are seeing that you have just mentioned in the presentation in the session here that people are coming to the physical, people are filling the form physically, they are coming to the virtual. So, what the major challenges regarding the admissions you are seeing, Rohan, in the basis of the university and the students? Are the online is a particular solution or physical plus online can be the helpful? How you tackle this situation, Rohan?
So I think for the first time, education institutions, be it higher ed institutions like colleges and universities, but even high schools, they're facing a true challenge uh, from private, online solution centers or education centers like, Byju's or An Academy, where students can go into these, online solutions and get the content that they want. And higher ed institutions and high schools also have to really think in those lines and really move fast in adopting technology to be able to provide content in an engaging, value driven way. It's just been a very long time that schools and universities have not innovated, and now they just need to move fast. So I really feel it's a mindset issue. Some schools, some universities will tell you it's a budget issue. We don't have the budget for this and that. They don't have a budget for this, for digitalization or technology because they don't think it is important enough. If you give it enough importance from the top down, from the owners or trustees of the board, give it enough importance and see this as an existential issue, then and budget will be allocated. So I don't really see budget as an issue. I see mindset as an issue. And if the mindset can be solved, or people can understand how important it is to adopt technology in all forms of education, everything else will be solved, because technology is not really a challenge. The technology already exists for engagement. People can teach you how to use the technology, right? I mean, your faculty may not know how to use the technology, your admissions officers may not know how to use the technology, but there are professionals who can train these people. And of course, all of these things cost money, so you can allocate the budget, if you think it is important enough. So that's why it all comes back to mindset.
So, Ron, how you are seeing the future? Like in 2019, we are in the physical state. In 2020, we are in the online state. In 21, we are going to hybrid. So, such a dynamic change is coming right now. So, how you are seeing the impact on our state of minds? How the things is going to be into 2021 and 22, so on, in terms of admission, placements, and other all things? Is there a major impact of this technology, or things will change come to the physical only? Right now, technology will be a
Yeah.
part, or
So that's a great question, right? When we were just getting into COVID-19 situation in say March, April 2020, people thought this will be like a 2 month thing. Things will be back by August. When we were in August, people thought things will be back by January 2021, and we are still now in March 2021. Things are not back to the way things were in 2019. And I think now people have started realizing, at least I'm seeing, people talking about things are not going to come back to the 2019 ways. This was not just a unique year, 2020, 2021. This is an acceleration towards the future. And things are not going to come back to 2019 ways. Your event, Abhishek, is not going to come back completely physically, again. The technology adoption, virtual recruitment is here to stay. Virtual online content delivery education is here to stay. The faster you adopt, the faster you can visualize the world, 5 years from now, 10 years from now. The more you will be able to not only survive this change, but actually succeed in this change.
thanks, Rohan. So I request all my audience, if you have any other questions regarding the CR4, how to avail this solution, so Rohan and his team is available at the exhibition also. We have our own booth of the Cialfo where you can directly meet also, and you directly have a face-to-face meeting also. And if you have any other question, you can put your question directly to the Rohan also. He is much available on the social sites also, and you can directly follow Rohan on the social sites, and you can directly put the question on the education at digitallearning.in. So we can forward the question to the Rohan Pasari. If he revert, we will get back to him. So thank you, Rohan. Thank you for giving your precious time to World Education Summit. And from this, we are wrapping this session. And this is a small token of appreciation, Rohan, a speaker certificate from our side to Rohan Pasari, co-founder and CEO of Cialfo. Thank you, Rohan. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Abhishek. Thanks for having me. Hope this